Your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for a Satacor Life Child Protector Critical Illness Plan today. The time by Satacor Life is...
Time on Love 101 is now 7 a.m. We make way for the Morning Watch with Mr. Stokeley Marshall.
Welcome to the Morning Watch on Love 101 FM. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. And of course, this is the number one gospel station in Jamaica. A special welcome to our listeners on love101.org. And if you are overseas and on the move, US listeners can access us at 7128-328-001. And if you are in the UK, 0330-332-6541, or join us via the Love 101 FM app that can be downloaded from the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. You can also join us on Love 101 FM Facebook and YouTube live in the main watch. The math problem in Jamaica. Does it all add up? And in the second watch, reggae, the church, and Christianity. For our social media question, we ask, what musical genres would you say should not be used in the church worship context and why? Share your responses in our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes to 876-997-3125 using the hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll share your comments later on the program, but first, as I quote.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. So today's I quote is an island quote, and it says, "Pound of frit can't pay your ounce of debt." Explanation: the time and energy spent fretting could be more gainfully spent on considering workable alternatives and solutions. So again, pound of frit can't pay your ounce of debt.
Well, teacher Jukal.
Yes, sir. Morning.
You're not teaching us this morning, but you're teaching us what now? Counseling.
Right.
That is counseling.
Well, true, yeah.
Please don't fret. Please do not fret. Thank you for that. So thank you so much for that, Jukal. The main watch. We'll be back after this break.
All right.
Wayne, you know Flo Yardan Road now faster than ever?
Yeah, my virgin just get it.
Him love it, though.
Especially the 200 megabit speed and getting a Samsung tablet or phone for $999 plus GCT. You know he got the phone?
So, you coming home now?
Right after I pass the board.
There's never been a better time to get the invaluable value of Flo Yardan Road. Sign up and get fiber fast internet at home, unlimited social, YouTube, talk and text for just $4,999 plus GCT. And save big on a Samsung phone or tablet. Conditions apply.
For all your funeral service needs, visit House of Light, located at 23 Old Market Street, shop number 10, Spanish Town, St. Catherine, and 800 Arrow Road, Unit 7, Toronto, Canada. We provide caskets, hearse, chariots, programs, buttons, t-shirts. Call us locally at 876-202-6540 or 876-859-7264. Internationally at 647-293-1823. Email us at houseoflightfuneralhome@gmail.com.
He knows my name.
Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of global crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church.
This is a reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
He knows my name.
Get
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 5, January 31, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain-testing Menticize. Stick around the Pearl Blast at 2 o'clock as we bring in the Pearl Bells of Heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, evangelist Roderick Robinson will join us to share his testimony of salvation from behind bars. And then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit for part 2 with social advocate, male youth developmental specialist, parenting consultant, author, and ordained minister, Reverend Jason Downer. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. January 31 with me, Sarah, and the chirpy one on the family station, Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host. It's a widely held view in Jamaica that our educational system leaves much to be desired, but specifically with what seems to be a never-ending plunge in what you could describe as math competence, as low as 37% pass rate in 2022 for CSEC. What are the possible reasons and when will we correct the problem? Is there any one reason for the problem, and how complicated a math problem is this? And are our female teachers to blame? Our male teachers to blame? Is it a systemic problem? Is gender even relevant? Why does this even come up? We have as our guests Prince Royal, a math tutor, and Paul Bourne, acting director of institutional research at NCU. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay, great having you. Now, first of all, is there a problem with the teaching of math in Jamaica? And if so, what is the problem? There might be a view, don't know if it is based on truth or fiction, that male teachers are better at teaching math, not so much female teachers. Is that just some sort of a discriminatory type of assumption? What's really happening? Starting with you, Mr. Bourne.
There are some issues that we need to address in life, and we just need to look at what is. Now, when you look at males generally, and I say here generally, it doesn't mean every male. Males generally are logical beings and therefore are more fitted for a mathematics in terms of ladies. Are they better math teachers?
But Mr. Bourne, that is going to sound as if you are being biased and prejudiced against women. I mean, what you're saying that men are naturally... What kind of
it's not that I'm biased. It's not that I'm biased or prejudice. It's not a matter of being biased or prejudice. As I said to you, normally that is the case. And if you look at professions that require...
The law says men and women are
substantial
equal, so
mathematics.
I don't understand, Mr. Bourne. The law says men and women are equal. So what is this thing about women are not as good at math, or whatever we are trying to say?
Absolutely, they are equal. So within the context of what I'm saying is I'm saying to you, it doesn't matter of competence. What it is that we are gifted at is not that men can't have children based on, if you even look at the whole gamut of science, the possibility could exist. But we're saying the normal thing is that female have children. The normal thing is male are logical beings. The normal thing.
So you're saying that some men can have children, Mr. Bourne? You're saying that some men can have children? You're saying that men can get pregnant?
I'm saying to you, so where science is going, there's evidence that men can have children in some time to come. All right.
Which science is that, Mr. Bourne? Show me that science.
there is science that they're working on that matter in terms of a number of stem cells.
Men don't have ovaries, Mr. Bourne. Anyway, that's a different problem. That's another problem. We're not going there today.
All right. So that's another issue. but what I'm saying to you is the normal tendency is for men to be a particular way, and because of that, it gives them.
Is it something to do with the way men's brain? Is it something to do with the way God wired the brain of a man? I mean, cut to the chase if you can.
Absolutely. General males. It's just a matter. And the similar thing relating to even females in terms of their emotional state, their caring, their compassion, all of that is just how we are wired naturally. All right? I'm saying it's not that they are better math teachers. But
biology supports what you're saying, Mr. Bourne, or it's just based on the feeling over the millennia?
No, man. Biology supports that. In terms of men logical positions. I mean, in terms of where men, in terms of which part of the brain that men access mostly, it is that aspect of the brain, and therefore, it is no difficulty to understand why it is that they'll be in the sciences while they'll do mathematics, while they do engineering, just because of how it is that they are wired naturally, biologically. So I'm saying it's not that they make better teachers.
So there are a lot of female teachers in Jamaica, and it is what it is. And we need to improve the math results. And I'm sure you have a lot of good female teachers to help us here, Mr. Bourne.
Absolutely, and many of my teachers were female teachers, except when I went to University of West Indies.
I'm speaking about math. I'm speaking about math here now.
Absolutely, I'm talking about math. All right. Some say it's not that. I'm saying that the female teachers aren't good and exciting, all of that. But what we need to understand clearly is that children are social beings, and if they are social beings, and if you look at in terms of the schools, social beings, they ought to be groomed and grown within a social environment. And I'm saying in that social environment, there is need for the male as well as the need for the female. Substantially early childhood level, it is like 8-1. You're substantially likely to see a female teacher at the early childhood level compared to a male teacher at the early childhood level.
In fact, only because of time, Mr. Bourne, I'm going to jump in because I did see where you have put out a video on YouTube, and your thesis is that the reason why math results are so poor later on is because at the early childhood level, the teachers are a little bit, they are afraid of math. Is that what you're saying? They fear the subject?
Absolutely. And that is documented in terms
of so what made you come to that conclusion? You said it is documented in what research was done on that?
A number of these teachers, yes, not only that, many of these teachers are pre-trained, and the ministry is trying to get a number of these teachers to be trained. So many of them are pre-trained teachers who themselves fear mathematics.
I see. Hold that thought. Let's bring in our other guest. Good morning, Mr. Royal.
Good morning again.
Prince Royal, what an interesting name. Your first name is Prince and your surname is Royal. Prince Royal, sir. Now, math. What is the problem? And are you going to devolve to what Mr. Bourne said, which sounds outrageous? Something to do with gender. What's the relevance of gender?
All right, so here's the reality, right? I don't think there's any scientific evidence to date that supports the idea that men are inherently better at math than women, right? It's the ability, right, is genuinely a complex one to do math, and it's multifaceted. There are several things that actually come into play, and it's influenced by a range of factors, including genetics, environment, many different things, to be perfectly honest.
Mr. Bourne says the brain of a man is wired differently, more logical. That's what he said, sir.
So that isn't, you wouldn't have been the first to me hear something along that line, right? The fact of the matter is we do have cultural biases and understandings based on where we're from. Right.
So when he says that the biology of a man's brain is wired differently from a woman's brain, that is based on a cultural bias.
Yeah, right.
Interesting you said that. We're almost upon a break already, but can we jump in and cut to the chase? What is the real problem, Mr. Royal? Because never enough time on the morning watch.
Here's the real issue we're having. The real issue we're having, a massive concern, is a matter of teacher quality, resources, and infrastructure. And class
teacher
time,
quality, resources, infrastructure, and class time. Hold those thoughts. We'll drill down some more. We are upon a break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on Morning Watch.
He knows my name. Here is your opportunity to connect with someone who will listen, pray, and give guidance. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church. Please call 876-220-6474. Weekdays between 8 a.m. and 9 p.m. and Sundays between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Please talk to someone if you're finding it particularly challenging to cope during this period of global crisis. Someone is waiting for your call. Please reach out today. 876-220-6474. It's the telephone counseling ministry of the Edgewater Baptist Church.
This is a reminder that somebody cares. Endorsed by Love 101.
He knows my name.
From generation to generation, Jamaicans have depended on J&B Bank to make the pride and joy of providing a safe place for their families possible. Now, with no processing fees and no down payment mortgage options, you can open the door to your own sweet home, a legacy to hand to your next generation. Visit jnbank.com to get pre-approved today. J&B Bank will help you find a way.
My mommy. Okay, be safe. I will. Okay. All right, bye. Bye.
Jamaica, a one life we have. Don't let this be your story. Look out for yourself and others. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So, slow down. It's not worth the rush. Arrive alive. A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the main watch and we are discussing the topic, the math problem in Jamaica. Does it all add up? Our guests are Prince Royal and Paul Bourne. Now, Prince Royal, a regal name indeed. Just before the break, you were outlining to us about 3 issues that are affecting or plaguing the teaching of math in Jamaica. I hope I've summarized them correctly. I hope that I have done so correctly. Teacher quality, resources, and class time spent in class, teaching math. Is that what you meant, sir? And if so, any others you want to add? Start with teacher quality first. Prince Royal? Have we lost you, Prince Royal?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, Prince Royal. We're hearing you, sir. Please proceed. Teacher quality. Start with that one.
Teacher quality has to do with the competency and the comfort level of the teachers actually teaching mathematics at all levels. If we start at the primary school and, early childhood education, we'll have to realize the context in which we actually speak. Those teachers don't teach mathematics exclusively. They teach everything. From English to religious education, communication tasks, whatever it is, they teach every single thing. It's generally rare that a person who, is good at everything or is good at teaching everything to also be good or very
So you think
proficient.
that we should have specialist teachers teaching math at the early childhood level, sir? That's what you're advocating for?
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
Where it comes to high school, what I've observed is we have a huge shortage, and it has been this way over decades, to be honest. Right? I've had experiences where I go to teach at a school, and when I go to the class that I'm going to teach, I'm learning that the class hasn't had a math teacher in months. Sometimes 3 whole months a class doesn't have math teachers. Right? So we're short of teachers, and we need specialists in the primary school level.
Okay. And what about resources and class time?
Well, not class time, class size, right? You find
class size. Forgive me, please. Class size and resources. Yes. What about those?
So in terms of the resources, you even come to learn that when it comes to rental books and texts that you actually use to aid the learning, some of them are short. Not every student actually gets one. I'm talking about math enough, which is taught throughout. You don't get to choose it later on. It's something you have to do. So when you don't have the math textbook to actually follow on or even do your homework or anything like that, that's a big problem, right?
I see. And what about the class size?
The class size?
Yes.
So you need X amount of teachers to X amount of students, right?
The teacher-student ratio is not correct. It should be a better ratio. A smaller class size is what you're advocating for.
In Jamaica, where mathematics, where in general, but let's focus on mathematics, is alarming.
Yes.
You have teachers today who are teaching class sizes upwards of 40, 45 students, sometimes even 50.
Way too big. That's way too big. Really, really too huge. Hold that thought, Mr. Royal. Hold that thought, Mr. Royal. I want to bring back in Mr. Bourne. Mr. Bourne, any comments in relation to what Mr. Royal just said? And of course, after you do comment on that, if you choose to, what do you see as the solution going forward, Mr. Bourne?
I have no doubt that some of these factors might be issue. And I can give you my personal experience as a teacher for mathematics for years. But I'm saying to you that the issue relating to gender is a substantive matter. There's a study that was done at the doctoral level called Effects of Teachers on Both Sexes of the Achievement of Male and Female Mathematics Students. There's a lot of research that has been done on the matter, but I don't want to get into the research of what I spoke about earlier.
You should send that to me, Mr. Bourne, because
yes, man, many researchers are there, man. And the issue with class size, I understand, all right, on other things, resources, etc. I have taught mathematics where I'm the only person with the textbook, and my students have done extremely well. There are approaches in teaching that looks at in terms of how people learn and how those things must be actually done. And I'm a person who went to teachers college, so we are taught how to deal with issues relating to class size and all of that. And my students have done well because it is how it is that you understand students that you have at your disposal and the approach that you use to teach them. So all of that can be dealt with. But as I said before, at the early childhood level, and I will always reiterate that, at the early childhood level, our teachers substantially fear the subject of mathematics. So even though they are not necessarily required to teach math at the level of the primary school, the high school, the college level, there are certain critical features that they don't understand, they don't like, and they can't impart. So that is creating.
Why is there, Mr. Bourne? I'm jumping in here, Mr. Bourne. Forgive me, but why are they afraid of math at the early childhood level? The teachers.
The matter is complex.
What does it? Yeah.
The matter is complex.
Go ahead.
That has to do with the culture of our people in Jamaica. We just naturally afraid of math because what it is that we're told of math. I remember when I went to University of the West Indies to do, I did econ and stats, all right? And every single class that we went, there are 10 of us that started, 10 of us that finished. Nobody else came in, nobody else exited. But we were told in almost every single math course the calculus 1, the calculus 2, the probability, the stats, that those courses are impossible to pass. So when it is that you start like that, infiltrating persons in a certain level, then you're going to have that fear. Why a number of us made it was because we naturally love the subject. And therefore went into with that open mind. But when you start the process in Jamaica with mathematics, person will always tell you, it's hard, it's difficult. And that creates a barrier even before you begin. That culture needs to change before we can address some of the problems. Because not many persons are mathematically oriented to move beyond what they hear about the subject.
But math is so integral to life. I mean, to understand money and wealth, to understand money, wealth, investments, and things of that nature. And you need math, and math is so relevant to so many areas of life. Mr. Royal, what do you think can be done to resolve this problem?
Well, I did suggest earlier. Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Right, I did begin
to suggest Mr. Royal.
That at the early childhood education level, you see, because the teachers are teaching everything you need specialists to actually be there to make sure that that element is taken care of, the mathematics.
Okay.
To supplement or guide or in some way support the teachers, I think that would be a good solution to solve the problem at the primary school level or at the early childhood level. Secondary level, because we have to focus on those two alone enough. Tertiary is when you now choose to take on it. So that's when you're educationally mature. You can actually go forward on your own without much.
I will quickly give you a personal experience. I struggled with math throughout all of my school years up to high school. In fact, I made sure not to do it in sixth form, because having passed math at the, in fifth form, I was so happy. I said, no more math. But then when I went to do my first degree, there was a course called, I think it was called something like mathematics and statistics, and you were forced to do it. It had to be done. And it was then that I got a tutor, not the lecturer, but the tutor. Being tutored by him, it was the first time ever that I had a math teacher or a math tutor who really made me understand the subject clearly. And it was as if it was like night and day. All of a sudden, what was in darkness came to light. He broke down the concepts very simply. He made complex things look like they're easy. And even though, yes, he still had to do a lot of work to pass the course, at least I was no longer at sea. So it brings up the whole matter of teacher quality to me personally, because that's my own personal experience. Teacher quality came to light for me. Any comments you want to make, gentlemen, on teacher quality before we wrap this morning? Paul Bourne, then followed by Mr. Roy. If you think it's relevant, that is. Mr. Bourne?
Teacher quality is without no doubt extremely important inside the equation. And that is why when teachers really love the subject, it makes a difference. All right? Because when a teacher loves the subject and he or she has been taught in a pragmatic way in terms of understanding things from its basic level, that teacher is able to actually convert to the student, let the student see how the mathematics work. I've taught mathematics. I remember at Vauxhall High School, where
so you're bringing up the love of the subject, which is very important. The love
extremely
of the
important
subject,
to the equation, because I've taught children maybe some teachers on the road.
Is it that maybe some teachers don't love the subject?
Many math teachers don't love the subject. And I teach math at this university level.
Hold that thought, Mr. Royal. Hold that thought, because of time, Mr. Royal. Because of time, Mr. Royal. Forgive me, because my internet is a little bit slow today. Unfortunately.
Right.
I see.
So teacher quality is extremely
and what about the love of the
right?
subject?
Yes, man. You have to have a love for the subject to actually effectively impart it. You cannot not love mathematics and effectively teach it. Because what you're going to actually
So could
end up
that be part of the problem?
like,
Could that be part of the problem, Mr. Royal? Could that be a big part of the problem? Some of the teachers are teaching it, but they don't love it.
I mean, to support what Mr. Bourne has said, you do have teachers who literally don't actually have any affection towards the actual subject, and they impart these emotions when teaching. When you actually begin a lesson, to be honest, to say it's going to be difficult, you're not actually fostering any positive energies towards actually getting the subject done, any motivation to actually get it done. You're demotivated teaching it.
Gentlemen, only because of time, Mr. Royal and Mr. Bourne, we have to leave it there, but very interesting conversation. We could speak forever about this, but I want to thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
JN Small Business Loans. Tell us your business and let's turn your ambitions into reality. The time by JN Small Business Loans is
7:31.
Family growing?
Yeah, time to make a move. Turn down the music, man.
Need your own space?
Time to make a move.
Make your move with a mortgage from Sagicor Bank. Get an affordable interest rate, discount on home insurance, plus a $2 million line of credit that you can use to fix up, furnish, or add your own personal touch. Apply for your mortgage from Sagicor Bank and make your move. Conditions apply.
NIS pensioners, have you changed your address? The Ministry of Labor and Social Security needs to know. Complete the change of address form attached to your life certificate and return it immediately to the NIS office nearest you. For further information, call 876-922-8014 or visit the Ministry's website. The National Insurance Scheme, always working for you. A message from the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
My mommy. Okay, be safe. I will. Okay. All right, bye. Bye.
Jamaica, a one life we have. Don't let this be your story. Look out for yourself and others. Too many Jamaicans are dying on our roads. So slow down. It's not worth the rush. Arrive alive. A message from the Office of the Prime Minister.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. Let's take a look at the newspapers to see what Jamaicans and others are saying and doing, and of course, various, other news sites. We have among our news sources, we turn to the Gleaner firstly, and there is a story of great concern here among the latest news. More Jamaican children addicted to pornography. Warren Thompson, Director of Children and Family Programs at the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, says his office has seen an increase in the number of children being addicted to pornography. We now turn to the Jamaica Observer, a story here by Alfia Sumner of the Observer. The headline is Traffic Snarl. Transport groups appeal for more time to pay tickets as crowds clog courts. And yes, it has been a challenge and a great challenge. Indeed, we now turn to Loop Jamaica News. A similar story. hundreds of motorists gather at traffic court to clear tickets. Hundreds gather to clear outstanding traffic tickets. Very concerning as well. Those and other stories in our various news sources. Of course, coming up, we will be having feedback to our Facebook, YouTube, and WhatsApp question, which is, what musical genres would you say should not be used in the church worship context, and why? If you haven't done so yet, leave a response on our Facebook, or your responses in our Facebook or YouTube Love 101 FM Jamaica Live, and also WhatsApp comments and voice notes too. 876-997-3125 using hashtag The Morning Watch. We'll be right back.
Get ready for another inspiring show this Testimony Tuesday inside Alive 1 to 5, January 31, packed with inspirational stories and island-flavored music. 1:45, we bring you the brain-testing Menticize. Stick around the Pearl Blast at 2 o'clock as we bring in the Pearl Bells of Heaven. 2:15 inside the evidence, evangelist Roderick Robinson will join us to share his testimony of salvation from behind bars. And then at 3 p.m., we go behind the pulpit for part 2 with social advocate, male youth developmental specialist, parenting consultant, author, and ordained minister, Reverend Jason Downer. All this and more will come alive 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. January 31 with me, Sarah Ann, the chirpy one on the family station, Love 101.
How have your days been? Your months? The past few years? Has it been a struggle? Filled with stress, disappointment, and even depression? Times where you're only hanging on by a thread? It's a special morning on The Rock this week, where we listen to you and share our own struggles. Just so you know, you're not alone. It's a morning where we want you to call, talk, and write to us and let us help you through your rough patches. Come, talk about it. We'll listen. Tuesday, January 31 on The Rock. Join host Bishop Harold Steve Blair and guests Dr. Margaret Barnett, Errol Bean, and Pastor Luke Smith as they discuss the topic Struggles, Depression, and God, the Counseling Edition. That's The Rock, Tuesday, January 31 at 10 a.m. here on the family station, Love 101.
We are on the campus nights. Students are step up in a price.
Don't miss Campus Connections Open House on Tuesday, January 31 at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101. Are you a student who's interested in singing, writing poems, or doing other creative pieces? Well, ever wondered how you can get featured with your awesome gift or talent? We are inviting you to send in your 2-minute video or voice note to love101campusconnection@gmail.com and our WhatsApp number 997-3125 by Monday, January 30 at 5 p.m. Or you may call our studio lines during the show and blow the roof off. Yes, it's all here inside Campus Connection, and you don't want to miss I Chose Christ, You Should Too, and lots more right here on the Family Station Radio. It's Campus Connection, 5:30 p.m. on Tuesday, January 31, here on Love 101.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We go right into the second watch. It appears as if we don't have at this time any feedback to the feedback question, or in response to the feedback question, what musical genres would you say should not be used in the church worship context and why? Well, February, which starts tomorrow, is Reggae Month, or that is how we celebrate it. And it's a pretty good time to look again at reggae and its role, if any, in the Christian church. We have as our guest today to discuss this very interesting topic, Dr. Dave Goss. He is a senior lecturer and director of the Institute of Caribbean Studies at the University of the West Indies. He's also pastor of the Whitfield Town Church of God. We also have online Mr. Patrick Kitson. He's a singer, guitarist, songwriter, producer, and founder of the reggae gospel group Change. Gentlemen, good morning. How are you both?
Good morning, Stokeley. I'm doing well, by the grace of God.
Great having you. Mr. Kitson.
Yes,
I think we have you on, Mr. Kitson. Great, wonderful.
Yes.
Now, jumping right into it, never enough time on the morning watch. Why is music important to worship in the Christian context? Starting with you, Mr. Kitson, why is music so important in the worship service in the Christian church?
Well,
Mr. Kitson.
Music is a part of our creation. We have a lot of instruments, and of course, music was part of the church from day one. Whether it is just vocals or is it with instruments. So we incorporate it in worship services. So that is my
Okay, understood.
Yes.
Interesting, Dr. Goss. Interesting, Dr. Goss. You're not only a historian, but you're also a pastor. Why is music so important to Christian worship?
Yes, Stokeley, yeah, man. That music is the what you call it, the heartbeat of a people. You know, it expresses what is happening in the heart. You know, what happening in the emotions. You know, the feelings, the reflection, the reflection on life. You know, so music plays a critical role in our lives. As it relates to this part of topic, though, I must make the point that we've been Christianized and Europeanized in a kind of a North American, European way of worship, and so there is some dissonance with that in contrast to our own local indigenous heartbeat. But music is critical to any people. Foundation, in expressing ourselves and our feelings or emotions.
Interesting point you made about how we have been Christianized, because how has music in the Christian church changed over time? Mr. Kitson, do you think it has changed over time, and if so, in what way or ways?
Yes, it has changed. And so are many other things that happen in the church. How they do this, how they do that. They have changed. And music is an important part of the church and of Christianity and all of that. So all of that has changed. The rhythm has changed. We were colonized, so we learned the things that our colonizers taught us. What to wear to church, how to wear our hair, the clothes, and all of that. But as we move on in our independence, then, something got changed. How we do this, how we do that. And some folks didn't like it because we like the tradition, what we were taught, and all of that. But the change over time is necessary, very necessary, because, the drums, some church never liked drums. So even when the Christian brothers were doing recording, drums were not used in the studios. It was like maybe like a little greater thing or hand clapping. As one time the music was called hand clapping foot thumping. But over the years, then another generation took it over, started to include the drumming, the bass guitar. Bass guitar was not used. It was just a 6-string guitar and still the bass.
Mr. Gibson, hold that 1 second, sir, because we are already upon a break. Listeners, please stay with us. We'll be right back on the Morning Watch.
Okay.
They're full of life. You're full of love. They're carefree. You care more. That's why we created Child Protector, a critical illness insurance plan from Sagicor Life. It provides coverage for your child in the event of 15 critical illnesses, hospitalization benefits, life insurance, and investment benefits. So make sure your child can live life to the fullest. Apply for Sagicor Child Protector today.
It's Love 101's 30th anniversary under the theme 30 years of music, family, and love. The celebration has begun with the 30 Days of Love Challenge.
It's day 17, Tuesday, January 31. Stop and pick up some litter, garbage lying around an area that doesn't concern you. The unselfish garbage collector.
Welcome back to the Morning Watch. I'm your host, Stokeley Marshall. We are in the second watch, and we are having a discussion with Patrick Kitson as well as Dr. Dave Goss. The topic, reggae, the church, and Christianity. Before the break, Mr. Kitson, you're making a point. Please continue that point, sir. Mr. Kitson.
Yes. As I was saying, the music.
Yes.
Has been through a lot of changes in church. I was born and grown up in the church of God. The clap and shouting and all those things. And you watch the music as a little boy, and you get involved in it as a little boy. You love the singing, you love the dancing, the testimony and all those things, which didn't happen in some other churches. So they just maybe use a piano, but in the church of God there was guitar and clapping and all those things. So
yes.
It became a part of my existence as a child. I used to leave church service on Independence Day when I was like single digit, and I would go down to Bumper Always, that is where the festival would leave from, and I would walk with that beside the music truck, and I would walk with the music truck right up to Kingston Public Hospital. My dad's church was off Walter Park Road at the time. And when that was where I would turn back and go back to church.
Very interesting. So, Mr. Kitson, go ahead.
Yeah, so when I reached church lock, church over, everybody gone. Then I would take the bus now to Mountain View, where we were living at the time. Mountain View Avenue, Jake's Road. And the good thing about it, that it didn't punish me. I don't know if you knew where I went, but of course you find a little small lie. To say, well, you were outside playing with the boys and church over, and you never know, and stuff like that. But it became a part of my existence. I look forward to that. For about 3-4 years, I was doing it every Independence Day, because at church then they had fasting service,
But for me, it was just going to see the float, walk with the dog, and see all these things because I'm a practicing artist as well. So all those things just was part of my existence.
Mr. Kitson, you're
So
not just a
yeah.
practicing artist. You're an excellent visual artist. Am I using the correct term? But maybe that's for another program, sir. I've seen some of your works online. But in terms of reggae music, it being Reggae Month starting tomorrow, some will argue that the use of reggae music in church can be a little bit more about entertainment than actual ministering to persons in worship. I don't know if you have any views on that, Dr. Goss and Mr. Kitson. Dr. Goss, any thoughts on that? Some people will say reggae music is not something that necessarily creates an atmosphere of worship. Dr. Goss.
No, I would disagree with that. Stokely. There's nothing wrong and sinful about reggae music. It's more the lyrics which makes a song worthy of earplay and all that. And it's not a beat. But the problem we have is that because of the missionary theology that we've been exposed to, right? They have taught us really that reggae just complete devil music, you know. And so we have become associated with that and have kind of sanctified a kind of slower music as church music. You know, so that's really the problem. But nothing is wrong with reggae music. It is the lyrics, which makes a song. And I think that we have to now start to disentangle some of the gospel and the context of the gospel, because not only were we Christianized, but we're also Europeanized in terms of the context in which we live, how you look, how you sing, how you ought to sing. Black people are not supposed to express their emotions too much because you look a little bit backward, and so control yourself, that kind of thing. And that is why, as my brother said, that even though you might go to a party at church, for whatever it is, whether it's status or whatever, but there's something in the music, in our music, which which pulls you, So I would agree that reggae music can be used in church because it pulls people. It is our heartbeat, and thing, it pulls people to it. Right. So nothing is wrong with the beat itself, with the bass line and all that, but it's because we're associated it with sinful music now, which makes it a problem in our context today.
And some might argue that there's a thin line between the music being used in worship to minister, as opposed to you getting caught up in the rhythm and you forget about who you're worshiping. Is that something worthy of thought or thinking about, or should it be dismissed as just something which is totally biased? Dr. Goss?
Bias. It is bias because, as I said earlier, is that they taught us, what godliness, ought to be like, and godliness ought to be quiet, in a sense, right? um, so that is why, even when the Pentecostal movement started, it was seen as, some little booga yaga people trying doing their thing, and it's actually in the literature, by the way, where the missionaries condemn African way of worshiping, right? Right. So it's a bias, right? So people today now, people are more free now to express themselves. Now, of course, we'd have to ensure that there's some level of we call ordinariness, but people must express themselves, you know. While it's a doctrinally sound, that's what you want, I would not, I would just express that people must feel that they are in touch with their maker. It doesn't have to be in the quiet way as we are accustomed to. It can still have, the Africanness to it, and we just have to be kind of manage it and kind of control that, but we must be free to express ourselves.
And when you say people must be in touch with their maker, Are you being specific to the God as we understand it, the Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Ghost? Because some persons listening, when they hear me, they might wonder what you mean.
Yeah, man. I mean,
You're
but the
saying
reality, though, those stuff is that we are from different denominations. We have a style of how we worship. You know,
Yeah.
so that is it. But I'm just saying that we must not use our own bias to judge other persons. All right, and that's all I'm saying, because that bias comes from how we have been trained.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it that some of the missionaries, I'm not saying you're wrong, I'm not saying you're right, Dr. Gossip, but is it that some of the missionaries were worried about syncretism, the merging or mixing of the Christian religion with some of the practices of other religions,
Absolutely
and
right.
so as a way to ensure that there is no merging or mixing of Christianity with some other religion, which we typically use the term pagan to describe them, they said, well, none of that at all, because we want to make sure you maintain a purity in your Christianity.
Right.
You're saying yes. That's probably what they were trying to do.
Yeah. Try to do, yes.
So how do we in this now modern context ensure that there is no syncretism, at the same time have more reggae, without people sort of worrying that the syncretism could slip in some way through the back door? Dr. Goss?
No, I mean, well, each church had its own doctrines. All right. So once there's doctrinal understanding of what you are doing, and each church has its own way of worshiping as well. So in my church is a more of a kind of quiet side, from the missionary experience and all that. People can express themselves, and if people get carried away, right, it is just a matter of their own expression. But the Bible, again, we use the Bible to remind person that whatever we do, has to be done in a kind of context, and all that. So we just use the Bible to kind of reinforce the teaching, but allow people to express themselves,
Interesting. Mr. Kitson, younger Christians versus Christians who are more mature in terms of age, do you see any differences in how music is enjoyed? Reggae music versus other, reggae music, for example, is it that the younger persons gravitate more to reggae, or it doesn't really matter? Mr. Kitson? Have we lost him, Mr. Kitson? Mr. Kitson? Hope we haven't lost you, sir. Well, Dr. Goss, until we get back, Mr. Kitson, any comments on that? Younger persons versus persons who are not so young in terms of age. Any differences?
Yeah, man. Yeah, of course, younger people, of course, because what some churches have to do, well, not necessarily here in Jamaica, but I know like overseas, is that for traditional worship, you have a different service, and for contemporary worship, you have a different audience, because young people are more gravitated, because culture is not static, culture is very dynamic. In the missionary period, you could get away with a very quiet church, but culture changes. As the culture changes, people want more expression. So younger people now will find a more livelier church as a better option for them. So you have to create, some churches in North America create a contemporary worship style in addition to a traditional worship style, or you try to mix both of them in one service, because you have to capture your different contexts, younger context, older context. Older people have been very much trained in the European way of worshiping. They like that. Younger people now didn't go up in that kind of setting. They want more contemporary worship. So it's a matter of trying to strike that balance and keep in. But surely younger people are gravitated towards the natural music of our island and our culture.
Have to leave it there this morning. I wish we had more time, but never enough time on the morning watch. And we hope we did not lose Mr. Kitson, but alas, we are now upon the time when we must wrap today. Dr. Goss, Mr. Kitson, thank you for your time and for your thoughts. Thank you, listeners, for being with us. Join us again tomorrow as we look at other topical and controversial issues, and visit the Love 101 FM YouTube channel and Facebook page for this and all other Love 101 FM programs. And of course, listen to The Morning Watch by downloading our Love 101 app and stay connected to us the family station, Love 101 FM, the number one gospel station in Jamaica. This has been the Morning Watch. Thanks to our producer, Kathy Gale, and to our guests. I am Stokeley Marshall, handing you back to Love in the Morning with Chakal.
I am from St. James, and the